guys, Roscoe back here. I left you 2 episodes ago where we just completed the first 300 CSM tile layer on the whole mould there. It was certainly a big couple of days. You can see the hull itself in the bilge has now been completed. One thing you will notice, we had a couple of comments about overlapping and excess resin usage. If you have a look there, you can see those dark sections. That's where the cloth is in fact overlapped. I found it easier to work in because there was only a couple of us to work in smaller pieces of cloth rather than large, sort of 12-metre long rolls, which would have facilitated a big effort. I found the 3-metre lengths were absolutely perfect. So if you have a look here, the 300 CSM, I'm just going to zoom in on this piece here, is a substrate that is bonded together with an emulsion, and the styrene within that vinyl ester resin that we're spraying on there actually breaks down the bonding agent and ultimately becomes clear. The important thing about this CSM is that we always have about a 30mm to 50mm overlap over each section to make sure that we've got full coverage. Essentially that second layer went down pretty pain-free. You'll notice here I've actually got some sandpaper, and I'm just hand sanding any of the little loose fibres that might be around after layer 1. That was really important because we found that we found a couple of little voids and areas that had to be repaired in between the layers. You're better off to target them and deal with them straight away. Often it required a little bit of extra sanding, a little bit of removal before we went into our second layer. But trying to make this as interesting as possible, because this is over the period of a big day again. So we're at day 3 here from gel coat and 2 days of laminating. One thing you'll notice too is those purlins that we had holding the hull sides, they became a bit of an obstacle. we were hurtling all day long. The great thing about them though is they did hold the gun hose up off the laminate and became very useful for hanging substrates off and bits and pieces. But yeah, hurdling over them became a bit of a physical task through the days, and 4 months later they're still there, still creating that problem. So yeah, that's pretty much it for layer 2.
Well, we've got Matt on the tools today. Just come on the mould for the day.
So we've got Matt and Tracy on the tools today for layer 3, which is a 1215 gram per square metre quad. The actual plan here called for 1040 grams, however we upped it to 1215, which is going to add a tiny bit of weight but also a ton more strength. You'll notice too that it is a little bit dry. It was particularly hard to wet out. We found by rolling it in 45-degree action, it actually enabled it to wet out. And here's a swatch of the fabric. You can see it is a stitch fabric, 45 degrees, 90 degrees and 0 degrees. It's a 4-layered fabric offering incredible strength, yeah, although it was a bit hard to wet out, we certainly got onto it and got the job done.
There you go, buddy. Matty's on the mould. So what I've got to do here, down the centre line of the hull, I've got to draw a line, and then I've got to laminate. So it's a bit hard to see, but I've got to laminate one layer of cloth, 150mm each side, overlapping, down here in the hole. So I'm doing it with this ruler. Draw a centre line, and I've got my square, measure 15 centimetres up the wall, and that'll give me my overlap. So that's requirement. So it is in fact 3 layers of solid glass in the hull as the tie layer. So this is the end of day 5 after we started laminating. So sorry, gel coat and 4 days of laminating. We've got 2 and probably 2 1/3 layers down. Down here in particular, we've got down here right up on the bridge deck here, we've got 2 layers of 300 grams square metre chop matting as the tie layers, and then we put down a layer of 1215 gram quadraxial. Now this is stitched fabric, you can see it here. It's got multi-layers and it's all stitched, so there's 4 layers there. We've got a 0 degree bias, 45, 45 and then 90 degrees, so very, very strong. And you can see it down here on the bridge deck here, so you can see where the boundary here between here, which is still wet, sorry, and here, this is chop manning, 2 layers of chop manning. This here is effectively twice as thick as this in one hit, so very, very strong stuff, and really, really, really strong and a bit hard to wet out, but we got the technique, and as you can see, it's flawless. So pretty happy, not even an air bubble in that. So pretty happy with that result. So it's been a big monster. You can see here, down here, just over here, this thing here, we're required by Australian Maritime Safety to lay up a panel. And what that panel does is, as we're laying up our hull, we need to lay up a test panel of 600 by 600 that needs to then go away and be tested for ultrasonically, and then it has an impact driving test and a shatter test, just to show that I've laid up as the engineer has recommended.
What we're looking at here is 6 days of probably the hardest bloody graft I've ever put in. We have a complete 1215 gram quad layer on the bridge deck. The rest of the boat, including the gunnels, the flanges, are complete with 2 complete tyre layers. And then it was time for AMSA to come and inspect. I was a bit nervous about this particular day, but David is an incredible guy. He's come down here and ultimately produced this report that has enabled us to pass our second inspection. He went over the thing with a fine-tooth comb and we found some little voids and areas that are very, very easy to patch up. And yeah, after a fairly serious inspection, I was pleased to report that we were able to move on to the next stage. His next visit will be at around about 80 to 90% completion of the hull. Just had what I think might be a really good idea. See this over here, or over here, there's a big International Echo truck. It's about a 10 metre long chassis on it. I'm thinking I might go and buy it off my mate Greggy, and may well turn it into a trailer for my mould. So up in here, it could live underneath the mould. It could actually help me move the mould, save me having to friggin' get a crane in every time, but then it could also act as a trailer for my boat, and my boat could probably just live on it the whole time. So this is an idea. May not come off, but I'm pretty sure he's going to sell it to me. What I'll probably do is weld about 12 acroprops onto it and have basically a jack system underneath it that can lift up the whole boat, and it'll probably sustain a good 8-10 tons. So I think that's probably the best idea. So let's got all sorts of stuff in here, lots of steel I might be able to use, but this is the thing I'm interested in, is this big truckie. You there, Greggy? This big baby here. So this is the thing I'm interested in. Oh, there's already some acroprops here. We might be able to fashion something very interesting out of this. Beautiful, isn't she? We're going to cut this cabin off, remove the motor, and then pull the gearing out of the diff, and we might even put some compressed air on it, just so we've basically got some air brakes, and we should be able to use this chassis as a dolly for the mould, and then ultimately for the boat in and out of the water. Yeah, what a find, eh? Just unbelievable when you look around what you can find. And this thing will lift a bloody 10 or 15 tons. My boat's only going to be hopefully about 8. So I reckon with a bit of ingenuity, a little bit of maybe a weekend's work, you can clean all the shit off it. This is the best idea. I love the fact you've got this. I just can't believe it.
That's one set up. It'll carry with those helper springs and all the shit on the back.
Yeah. It's perfect.
I reckon you go, especially because you got to remember, my truck's got all the deck and everything else. Like my truck weighs 7.5 tonnes sitting on the ground.
So after cruising the net, I found a couple of examples of what I was trying to achieve. Some more advanced versions like this next one here. But ultimately, I think the chassis was going to do exactly what I needed it to do.
Righto, so I've just done a deal on this baby. This is a big international Acco, but what I'm very interested in is this chassis. This is a 10-ton truck, so it'll lift my cat no problem at all. What we plan to do is put some engine lifter jacks on it with some hydraulic lifters on it, so that we can lift the mould up and move the mould, and also move the boat once I get in the water. So this will stay with my mould.
So as I sit here and edit this last video, it's interesting how I've come up with a ton of content. I don't ever remember filming all this stuff because, you know, ultimately I'm just getting out my phone and getting out a camera and whacking it all together. But it's really a great progress story for me. It's I'm seeing, you know, major progress. The more and more I edit, the more I see how much I've actually achieved. I'm around about 4 months behind at this stage with the videos, so I'm being pretty honest about that. And the reason why I'm doing that is so I don't get too pressured in trying to just put out a video rather than building a boat, because it is taking up a considerable amount of time, and getting these videos together is a bit of a second priority in my books, but fast becoming a first priority, unfortunately. If you'd like this video, please give it a like. You know, I'd like to see the responses. I love the comments. It's absolutely superb to get these comments, and you know, I'm making some good friends out there, which is fantastic. I'd love you to subscribe it and just, you know, share it out to any young budding boat builder that might want to lock his horns into a good project. There's plenty of information to come, and I've got a ton to come, don't you worry. And I hope you'll join me next time on Life on the Mould. See you later.